So, after the severe trashing which I did for the Xbox, now it's PlayStation's turn, since they aren't saints after all. And, just like the Xbox thingy, I also own this garbage as well. Well, can't really call it garbage, the hardware provided with this console is extremely good. However, the issue resides within the company which makes it. Of course, I'm showing it here. Right now it's called PlayStation, but it's under Sony. So everyone, welcome to the rant on PlayStation things this time around. Let's have a talk and discuss why PlayStation has its worst generation yet, as you have read by the title. Alright, I'm also going to settle this thing, because let's be real, it's quite heavy just like Xboxes. I don't know why they made the 9th generation so heavy, but yeah. It will stay like this, just as entertainment purposes. Hello everyone, Chris back again with you in Gaming Zone. Today I would like to once again return to the topic of consoles and discuss Sony's side of things following the rant I had before about Xbox. If you'd like to check out that one, links are in the cards and in the description. While things aren't completely disastrous and they don't have ridiculous readership incompetence, they have their own issues running through the system, which I would like to cover. I would like to highlight everyone that these videos which you see on my channel aren't simply here to rant about these consoles. I'm here to create content to have them succeed by delivering great products, great hardware, and both services as well. Unfortunately, this generation delivered nothing but disappointments when it comes to service and games. I understand very clearly that in a sea of cynics, the message is that everything is doomed to fail. However, there is positives to highlight in this bad batch. Constructive criticism is important, and if it's being dismissed, it will lead to worse outcomes. Same thing can be applied to overly positive coverage. It leads to echo chambers and disasters like Concord to exist. Things must be in a measure to assure a proper balance. Before jumping the gun, I would like to highlight that I had a blast playing on the PlayStation. Although I'm quite a freshman when it comes to the latest generations on the consoles, I am an OG for the original one. With all of its pixels, I still enjoyed its products. So I hope some of my feedback will be counted by the company. I've been playing them since the original one. While I didn't have a chance to play the latter ones, I did jump again on board with PlayStation 4 and now PlayStation 5. Personally, I would give an award to the leadership that managed the division in 2014. They straight up crushed Xbox with the simple yet effective advertisements of gaming sharing.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
This video alone has done such catastrophic damage to the Xbox brand, they haven't recovered from this blow ever since, struggling to this day with brand image. PlayStation 4 was an underpowered system for the time, yet, due to its excellent catalog of exclusives, it saw a huge success with excellent sales. Even I decided to push for it and grab the system to play titles such as God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and many others that are renowned for this generation.
Then show me what you know.
You look at those materials and tell me that PlayStation 4 didn't have any good titles released on it. Even an avid PC enjoyer like myself jumped into the console live to play these titles out. That good the experience they provided was. Naturally, I expected PlayStation 5 would up the ante, bringing even bigger projects and more interesting first-party games on the table. The reveal was hyped like crazy, and the way this console was designed screamed of a bright future. However, I wouldn't be here if problems didn't spawn along the way. Before I get started with the thrashing of the service, I would like to highlight the hardware itself. PlayStation 5 is truly a well-designed system by Sony, and it is truly worthy of the next-gen moniker. The upgrade to Zen 2 CPU architecture by AMD, compared to the laptop trash seen in PS4, brought the system huge headroom for tasks. GPU is nothing surprising really, if not an expected upgrade everyone waits from the console. But most important part of it is the transition to SSD storage, finally leaving those spinny boys under the name of hard drives a thing of the past. Can't say I'm a huge fan of the 825GB of storage, which factually is about 660GB excluding the operating system. I believe this is one of the biggest drawbacks the PlayStation 5 system has this generation, but it's far better than waiting an eternity of loading screens. Personally, I kind of miss the art of loading screens like shown here, but it's a good trade-off to load in a game in just a couple of seconds. The base version of PlayStation 5 released in 2020 unfortunately was scalped like crazy due to high demand and human malware the world saw during that period. Even so, I believe the original hardware is the best version of this console, with the follow-ups either being a slight downgrade or straight up a waste of money and development time. Moving on, let's discuss the service Sony provides with PlayStation, and why it's honestly one of the worst generations of consoles yet for the brand. The meme about having no games is going strong even in 2025. It truly says a lot about what's going on with the provided experience. First, let's highlight the positive aspects which has been taken from the competition, and that is the Game Pass model. PlayStation successfully took this concept and integrated it to their own catalog via PlayStation Plus. If you want to spend less on the games for the system, you can try to subscribe to PS Plus Extra, which gives you a catalog of games similar to Game Pass. Subscribing to the premium tier gives you also access to PlayStation 1 games, although you must do your own research, since some of them might be emulated and use online streaming.
How about you, Udovich? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
And this is where sadly the positive aspects end when it comes to their service. Game Pass type initiative is pretty good, but only if you think about playing older titles in the catalog from 8th generation or better third-party entries. First-party games from Sony this generation are quite underwhelming, let's not kid ourselves. A couple of sequels such as Spider-Man 2 and God of War 5, also known as Ragnarok, a couple of remasters and remakes such as Until Dawn, Demon's Souls, and of course, embarrassing failures like the mighty flop king called Concord.
Come on, let's go!
Seriously, what a tragic sight. Seeing one fall from such heights during PlayStation 4 to now RemasterStation 5. However, even the sequels aren't spared from their own problems. Unfortunately, these lack the ambition their predecessor had, the gameplay seen in them rather being either a side grade or a slight upgrade to already existing formula. I'm not even going to start talking about the lore of those, it has been clearly passed through tons of HR departments and usual suspects to make it as safe as possible for consumption. Even when Sony managed to hatch a golden goose under the form of Helldivers 2, which became really successful last year with tons of players hopping on the PC port, the incredibly moronic decisions taken by the headquarters, such as obligatory PSN sign-in, simply smear the look of the brand.
Rain fire! But sire, our troops just do it!
By the way, to this day I still can't purchase Helldivers 2 on Steam because I'm out of Sony's approved countries. Same thing with other ports like Ragnarok and Tsushima. Apparently they are allergic to my money and simply refuse it. That applies to half of the globe as well. I'm not the only one suffering from these straight up moronic decisions. Guess I'll have to sail the high seas to grab myself a copy, if you know what I mean. Thank you, Sony. On a real note, the titles provided by PlayStation this generation have been more or less either remasters or director's cuts. Oh, and the aforementioned sequels that really play it safe. This is where this part of the video really kicks into a rant, and that is the active involvement of politics into this side of the brand. First time it's a strange occurrence, if it happens again afterwards, it's a pattern. The writing in the sequels have been quite suspect, raising several question marks when it comes to its content. Some character designs are straight up strange and look extremely out of place, the issue becoming worse and worse with each new entry reveal. There are some exceptions such as Stellar Blade with the characters looking fine. Except of course the censorship patches which followed up shortly after the launch of the game. as if someone knocked on the door and warned about the consequences for not fixing the mistakes the launch version provided to players. Lore-wise, a perfect example is the Jotunheim part of God of War Ragnarok becoming straight up a snorefest. It's so boring! Or how about another example? How strange Mary Jane looks in Spider-Man 2. Her design is being one of the best in the original game, and in the sequel looking straight up like she just woke up from a quick nap, quickly dressed up not to be late for work. Oh, and let's not forget how she somehow managed to survive hordes of zombies with a simple taser. How can I forget the lovely train wreck that was Concord, a live service hero shooter in a very oversaturated genre with the ugliest characters to have seen the light of day. Seriously, what were the designers thinking when creating these heroes? They look like a bunch of thugs from the local dark alley. Sitting on a cactus is a far better outcome than ever having to meet such characters in such a situation.
Why don't they like it? We spent $250 million on this!
This leads to the recent reveal of the Heretic Prophet game by Naughty Dog, one of course featuring yet another questionable character in the promotional materials found online. If I could close my eyes with some previous titles, the last two I've presented here straight up scream of activism involvement, characters being made to look like this on purpose, and the lore will obviously introduce obnoxious moments in the games. You can't tell me Sony couldn't make a decent heroine for their project. They know damn well such characters will spark heated debates, and they did this on purpose.
Are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich.
I believe activism and politics have no place in games. People play them to get away from everyday problems, which directly involve those. However, PlayStation recently started pushing such elements in their games harder, and this led to their projects to fall in quality both in character design and in the stories as well. Sony's arrogance led to this generation of their consoles to be one of the worst I've ever seen, and we've been through PlayStation 3's disastrous half, with the no-game memes being applied to it as well. The provided services and content fell drastically both in quality and quantity, the leadership scrambling to this day when it comes to console plans and its support. First, they choose a plan to generate dreaded live service games, only for the plan to fail and have the CEO fired. Then comes the second one to deliver another devastating money loss under the form of Concord, followed up of course with introduction of activism in their products, and of course, scalping the customers with refreshes such as slim and pro models of the hardware, to get the money going after many financial mistakes.
First of all, congratulations, Mr. Krabs.
Hello! I like money!
What inspired you to build a second
PlayStation.
right next door to the original?
Money!
PlayStation 4 was a very successful console and a good generation overall. However, since Xbox isn't really competition anymore, with Microsoft actively shooting their feet with every decision, Sony's became arrogant and do whatever they want to their customers. Services fall in quality, prices grow up, the hardware grows up in prices as well, and now first-party exclusives started falling in quality as well, to meet quotas. All of these problems make PlayStation 5 simply wasted potential. Good hardware with subpar services, all the fault falling straight on Sony. I've bought this system with hopes to see great titles from PS4 get even better on this system, which had me on the edge of the seat of the gameplay as well, me craving for more sequels on this exact future system. However, my PS5 has basically turned 50% of the time just a paperweight, and also half of it being turned simply into a Fortnite grind machine, which is quite a sad fate. 5 years have passed since the release, and I can count on the fingers the titles I was really looking forward to. You can't even imagine how sad this is. And what is worse is that we're way past the first half of PlayStation 5's lifecycle, in the upcoming years expecting the next generation. I'm going to make this even sadder. The system to this day is still being held back by PlayStation 4. In 2025, games are still releasing on now 12-year-old hardware, dragging down PlayStation 5's capabilities to accommodate extremely outdated hardware. Just let that marinate for a minute.
That's exactly right.
Damn. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Another kicker is the hardware refreshes under the form of Slim and Pro models of the console. Remember how I said that the hardware comes up with some drawbacks? Well, Sony is at it again with these refreshes. First is the removal of included stands for both versions. Now you're forced to pay extra to have proper stand for your PlayStation 5. Too poor for that? Well, enjoy the ugly and small plastic standoff to pry off your PlayStation. The worst out of the two, however, goes to the Pro model. It's straight up being a terrible value. Not only do you not have a disk drive and stand included with it, you don't even get the better DualSense Edge controller in the package. A system with a Pro moniker, being worse in provided features than the base 2020 version I currently have on my table. Oh, and it costs $700 in US, with the price in Euro being an eye-watering 800 euros. Sony truly lost their marbles with this one, all this money to access declining services. At least you get slightly optimized PSSR upscaling technologies with PS5 Pro. Games are being so badly optimized now that you even need upscaling software for high-end consoles as well. Well, future is looking very bright, folks, that is for sure. To wrap up this console rant on PlayStation, everyone, I'm going to conclude the same things just like I did with my Xbox content piece. A path of improvement for Sony really is to focus on delivering better services, better games, and overall not be as aggressive and as arrogant as you've seen with this generation. Also, Sony, don't strangle golden gooses such as Helldivers 2 for simply having some numbers written in your reports. You straight up do a bad look for your brand. Another simple suggestion would be to leave political topics aside and activism out of their products, to focus once again on delivering high quality experiences seen during PlayStation 4's lifecycle. Oh, and while at it, why not being an actual decent hardware provider and include the stand and disk drive in the Pro model of PlayStation 5? How come an older model offers those for free, but for the so-called superior version, these are missing from the set? But again, just like the Xbox video, I highly doubt the suits at Sony will give a damn after all. Sales are going strong, the echo chambers are sealed shut, but the cracks are showing up with failures such as Concord, and now the strange push with activism in recent projects. I'm fairly confident PlayStation 5 is one of the worst generations of consoles made by Sony. Good hardware with subpar services. I don't see a turnaround like PlayStation 3, where by the first half of it was quite dry, then later, by the end of its life cycle, they managed to salvage the situation by delivering some high-quality exclusives. Time will tell the answer, however, I'm not a Nostradamus follower, so all we got is this, unfortunately. Thank you for watching this PlayStation rant video, everyone. Just like the Xbox upload which you've seen on the channel previously, this was a very hard video to make, but an important one nonetheless. If you enjoyed the content which you've seen, everyone, don't forget to throw a thumbs up, and if you didn't, there's a dislike button nearby. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see more content from me, and clicking the bell stuff will send you notifications when something new is uploaded on Gaming Zone. Thank you for watching, this was Chris, see you in the Gaming Zone.